Hello, everyone. My name is Matt Stiles, and I'm your host for Seeing is Believing. It's a new series I've been meaning to start for the past 3 years. I somewhat am skeptical of ghosts and shit, supernatural, and everything that's happened throughout. This whole episode is about things that has happened and has happened to the corgi throughout the years. With me is the corgi. Introduce yourself, corgi.
Hi, I go by the Corgi. Strong infatuation with those little bread loaf dogs with no legs. Um, but I've known Matt for a very hot minute since like 2017. We've been very close friends. Of course, our work has kind of separated us, but not for too much longer. Um, I will say uh, I don't have much experience. Like as a professional, I have no degree. I have no background investigatory, systematic stuff behind me. This is all just personal work, personal talk, personal experiences. I mean, everyone can kind of relate to it. I hope in some way, shape, or form. But like I said, everything I say is with a grain of salt because I am no professional with this kind of stuff. But that's the fun of it.
Yep. That's gonna be the fun of it. Well, first off, like we were fairly blah blah. Do you? My first question, do you believe in supernatural ghosts? And you kind of actually said it already.
Yeah, I like to take the agnostic approach. A religious term usually, um, the safer form of atheism. No, so that's a joke, but it's not that I don't believe. I like to factualize a lot of stuff or almost everything. But if it can't be factualized, I'm not against it. So I'm not trying to hide behind like if something's slapping me in the face with proof of some sort of supernatural act, I'm not going to panically try to find a reason, um, because that's just being dumb and closed-minded. It's more or less if I cannot find some sort of relation to a factual theory or something like that, it most definitely can be accepted in my mind as a supernatural occurrence or event. So I like to stay agnostic because it goes by either way with proof.
Yeah, me, like I said, I believe and I don't. I'm half and half. Like I, I always try to find out the actual meaning behind what is happening. But when there's like 100% proof that there is no absolute meaning, like there's no proof that this is not supernatural, then that's when I do believe in the supernatural. Uh, do you believe in the videos that come out on YouTube,
So
supernatural and
you know,
stuff?
my very black and white mindset, my previous statement of the last question, it really explains this. It's a yes and a no. Just like social media, you have to take everything you see on something like YouTube with a grain of salt. But if you can trace the video to a viable source, something that isn't edited or known to be joke or spoofy, most definitely. I mean, there's some videos that are legitimately creepy, eerie, and unexplainable. The same stuff you get when you listen to an SCP documentary. It's just kind of what's going on kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, there's some stuff on YouTube that I absolutely think is more than just a few clever editing tricks.
Yeah, I do. There's some shows that I'm like, okay, this is bullshit. I really
Absolutely.
don't believe you. You guys are just making a whole, not gonna say script, but you guys are trying to fool people by saying, "Oh shoot, I hear a noise. What could that be?" But they're so convincing that people believe them. Uh, like I believe in ghosts. I sort of believe in ghost adventures. I want to say by like season 4 or 5, that's when I started seeing, oh, these guys aren't doing this for fun anymore. They're just trying to get money off of us. Uh, Most haunted, I for sure do not believe in them. That was like the first ghost. What's it called? One TV series that I watched as a kid. I believed it. Now looking at it now, it's not really real, and there's a lot of YouTube videos showing why it's not real and why they were like just fooling the audience. The one I do believe like 100% is real is Unsolved slash Ghost Files. I don't know if you heard about those.
That sounds super familiar. I think Ghost Files, yeah.
Yeah, Ghost File. Well, I'm not sure if it's Ghost Files or Ghost fucking something. It's with Ryan and Shane Madej. One's a skeptic, the other one is a freaking 100% believer, and they make a really good freaking combo together. See,
Shane Madej and Ryan Bergera. Yeah,
yeah,
you're right. It's Ghost Files.
yes. So yeah, they, I believe them because one, of course, is a skeptic, 100% skeptic. Even if something supernatural happens, which sometimes it does, I'm not saying it 100% happens. Like I want to say, out of 100 episodes, I believe like 3 of those episodes did have supernatural ghost presence in it. But yeah, that's my take on the YouTube videos. Uh, like any supernatural experience or any places that you would like to go to?
Well, I have experiences with some, and actually, I took you to one, but sadly, we couldn't get a place. I live near uh, a landmark of the West, supernatural, Virginia City, one of the oldest still active, classic Wild West towns in Nevada during like, the silver and the gold expansion, all the miners and stuff. There's a hotel there, and it's actually a lot of people that are interested in this kind of stuff have probably already know what I'm talking about. Ghost Adventures. This was their first episode, their debut back in like 2004 or something like that. They went to the same hotel. Funny enough, the first floor is still an active, everyday use bar. Most places in Virginia City are, but that's the Wild West. That's all they could do is drink back then. But I did a tour a while back, and I'd like to take you whenever you come back on this tour if we get a chance. It was it was something. Like if anyone's actually been to a truly haunted place, a place of supernatural um, events, it's not creepy, and it's not like you're being watched. It's it's an eerie and out of place feeling. Like you don't feel like you should be there. Once you do the tour, you go right up to the second floor. There's a four-story, and there's a basement too. That was a cellar basement. That was creepy, and it was oddly, terrifyingly cold. Um, but it was, pianos were playing. Like a piano could be heard playing from the ballroom on the third floor. You could see people in mirrors that were in the old rooms. You could see like a lot of almost trope and stereotypical kind of creepy um, uh, like I said, haunted tropes that actually occur, and it's terrifying because you can't explain it. And the worst part in this gimmick I hated, and I got in trouble for it. On the tour, they hide very realistic mannequins, faces dressed up of proper era. They're around corners. They're sitting there, and you look over, like,
Oh
like
shit.
like you thought someone separated themselves from the tour, or someone was already up there, like kind of thing. And I struck one. I punched it in the face, and I almost knocked it over. And like, sir, you need to stop doing that. You can't joke around on this history tour. I'm like, I paid for this tour. You put that there. You're lucky that that doesn't happen more often. But like I said, if you're ever in the area, I mean, the town is a blast to visit. But a lot of history there. There's still some open mines, like old school mines where it's super dangerous, and you can go tour part of them, the safe parts of them. But that's also a blast to go do. And then if you ever get too scared, you can go down to the first floor, grab a drink, go back up.
Get scared again.
Get scared again, but now you're a little fuzzy, Uh, but yeah, no, that was a fun place. I'd love to go back. I mean, for me, it's only a short drive. Beautiful drive, by the way, up the foothills of Nevada. And then another thing, Northern Nevada, not Las Vegas. If you think you can go there from Las Vegas, plan an 8-hour drive. Anyway, because a lot of people get it confused. There's only like 3 cities in Nevada that people care about. And then I've also been to the Queen Mary. I think it's still docked in San Diego. Currently, it's like this. This attraction. It has like a ride, but it's a walking ride where you actually walk. It's a fake tour that Disney made a long time ago when they owned it for a few years. It takes all the major hauntings and they make it like to a realistic CGI effect, like you're experiencing the worst of the hauntings. It's really cool and terrifying because then you can go take the real tour and it looks the exact same, but it's that same out of place feeling where you're like, I should not be here. People were closed and severed in two, like down the seams you'd see in a movie or a TV show. Um, they're severed in two by hydraulic doors that shut on timers. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, the history of the Queen Mary is, medical ship in the World Wars. It was a modern version of like the Titanic. Like a nice cruise liner. I think at one time it was a maritime ship that did logistical movements. There's a lot of dark history and bad luck with this ship. But I mean, if you've seen The Shining, the room hallways, they're yellow, they're eerie. Like The Shining in the back rooms had a love child. It's terrifying. And you'll see like an old, like if you remember like that bellhop from um, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, like that stereotypical bellhop. They wore uniforms like that, and people have been said to see them walking and turning the corner at the end of a long hallway, and they'll run up and look over, and there's no one there of another extremely long hallway, and you don't hear a door shut, you hear nothing. So clearly they didn't go into a room. If you're curious about that place, it's still an active hotel. It's a fun tour to see, and San Diego's a great city. And you can pay a little bit more to actually stay in a known haunted room for a night. So if you're really into that stuff, by all means, go for it.
Yep.
But I'm kind of going to. I'll pass. I'll just go on the tour and go back to my safe room. But to answer your question, this like beyond a tangent, I would, as a kid I've been, but I want to go as an adult with the experience, the knowledge, and the curiosity I have today. Alcatraz in
Oh yeah.
the Bay Area and San Francisco Bay. I mean, that place is horrid. It is a rock prison. It was basically one of the first supermaxes. I mean, you can't get off of there. Only two guys made it, and they barely made it. I mean, they're surrounded by shark-infested, extremely cold seawater, and I mean, if you've been to San Francisco, it's never that really pretty of a day. It's all it's always cold, foggy, terrible. So I mean, they have like maybe a 1 month out of 12 month to escape this place. And if it's a nice day out, I think the guards would probably have a good time seeing you. So, but the place is terrible. You can do the audio tour where you're just walking around. You go to a place and Bluetooth that tells you where you are. And you can do a full open tour where you just walk around and explore every part of it that's open. I know it just got redone, like kind of like oh, that
Wait.
was weird. What
Yeah.
happened?
I don't know what happened. It like
Okay, it's
kicked
fine.
me out.
But I know Alcatraz got like kind of re-cared for, like with paint. I don't know the term, but like with paintings, it's like
Yeah. Hold on.
they take something.
Let me get
You're gonna check.
back. Yeah. There you
You gotta
go.
make sure it's good.
Yeah. There.
Okay, we're
I'm
good.
good. We're good again.
Perfect. So sorry about that. Discord's been weird. This is not my first try. Um, I will say it was my fault the first time, so don't blame him. Oops. But yeah, I know they just refurbished Alcatraz with some parts, so I'd like to go see what they've done because I do vaguely remember what it used to look like. I doubt they did a lot. I think they just cleaned it up and made it look more practical, a little bit more safe for tourists. Not getting locked in cells anymore because that happened a long time ago. It's pretty funny. Not for the person, but for me. Um, but yeah, Alcatraz, to answer your question, I think that would be fun. Like I said, I don't have a lot of experience. Maybe like going to Ireland or Scotland and
Scotland.
going to Scotland and seeing a classic castle, a
Ooh.
medieval castle or a Dark Ages castle. I think I know Ireland still has a lot of standing stonework. I think that would be a blast. A
Yeah.
lot of places in Europe, and I know because you're in Germany, they have a long history of war and famine and problems. So there's a
Yep.
lot of stuff in Europe that you can explore and
Yep.
see.
Romania, freaking Vlad the
Oh,
Impaler's castle,
what a good guy.
which he's not a vampire. I don't know how it became a vampire story.
I mean, he wasn't too far off. He just didn't need it to survive, and he's dead, so clearly he's not a vampire. But
Yeah. Yeah, but I also wanted to go to a hotel. It's called the Stanley Hotel, where Stephen King based his novel The Shining, which also is the movie too.
Oh yeah,
Which
that'd be a blast.
saying I do not want to do anything with freaking little kids, because yes, they are scarier as a ghost.
Be right back. You keep talking. I can hear you, but I gotta let the boy out.
All right, so
There's the
yeah,
boy.
Stanley Hotel. Stonehenge is another one that I would like to go to. Uh, it's again, Stephen King has what's it called, a big influence for this because he he what's it called, he based one of his short stories off of the Stonehenges, which is called N.
It was that one
And
you were talking about earlier, right? Like it was free. You can find it on YouTube if you're interested.
yeah, you can find it on YouTube. Let me get a little glimpse of it for you guys. I'm not gonna show it, but I could have the audio a little for a little bit.
Well, is there like
I just don't
a
want to
screen?
get copyrighted or
No, well then like a screen tag or like maybe
well, that was
the
loud.
little icon picture.
So yeah,
It was suicide. As a doctor yourself, you know psychiatrists like Johnny have an extremely high rate of it. But I think, and this gets me to the material I'm enclosing with this letter, I think Johnny's suicide was prompted by a particular patient. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm enclosing what I found in Johnny's personal effects. This box. The handwriting, burn this, is Johnny's, and, well, I didn't listen. Like Pandora, my curiosity got the better of me, and I opened it.
yes. So that is a little glimpse of Stephen King's N. You can find it on YouTube. It has a whole series. I believe it's like around 14 episodes, and all the episodes are enclosed together, so you could actually watch the whole thing in one sitting. It's 29 minutes long. But
Each
yeah,
episode or as an entirety?
as an entirety.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, each episode
That'd be
I want
pretty
to
cool.
say is like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, no more than 10 minutes. I
Okay.
mean, not 10 minutes, no more than 2 minutes. Uh, I'm jumping my numbers, but yeah, Stonehenge, and then the there's a reason why I'm saying Stonehenge too, because it has more of a dark arts, and I sort of dabble in the dark arts because of my deity, Fortuna. Uh,
And you do the Roman secular, not the
yeah,
Greek secular.
yeah, I do.
Fortuna?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do Roman. There's also Greek. In Greek, she is known as Tech, and yeah. So it's just dark arts. What's it called? Card reading is what I do, and that is, people call it dark arts. Some people just say it's just fortune telling. It all depends on what you want to call it.
Mhm.
But yeah, which brings us to my Hawaii experience that I had.
God.
I told this story to Corgi, but I'm going to explain it to you guys.
I mean,
So,
I was a part of this story
oh,
too.
yeah, he
So
was
this
a
is
part of it, of the story. So our buddy Copper invites me to go bar hopping with him. The Corgi's not there. He lives with what's it called, Copper.
and
But
by the way, we call him Copper. He is a naturally extremely redhead man.
yeah, he has no soul.
Bless his heart. Yeah, he's a daywalker. Some people call him.
So yeah, he invites me over. We have a little couple drinks. We drive over there. We start bar hopping. I black out completely. I don't know what's going on. We come back. Tells me to stay over. He doesn't want me driving to base, because yeah, he doesn't want me to get stopped by the gate guards and get what's it called, fucking kicked out of the military.
You know,
So
arrested.
yeah, or arrested or get a DUI or whatever. So I stay. I'm about to sleep on the couch when he thinks, oh, wait a minute. I remember that Corgi said you could sleep in his room. So why don't you just sleep in his room? Bad idea. That night, I went to sleep in his room, and I had my covers on. And then around 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't even know at what time I woke up. I heard a door open and then close. And I'm like thinking to myself, the corgi's not here. He's on leave. I turn around and I see a big black dark figure on the head of my of where I'm sleeping at, and it's the big dark figure is not even see through. It's dark, completely dark. You can't see through it. So I'm like, okay. I grab my covers and I roll up into a ball, and I'm like, this is just a dream. I'm going back to sleep. I don't remember falling asleep, but yeah, the next day, apparently Copper comes in, tries to see if I'm awake because he has to go back to work, and then nothing because, well, he saw me that I was freaking balled up in a ball, and then yeah, and then he comes in like around 11 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I explained to him what happened, and he's all like, "Oh hell no, I'm not going inside his room," but yeah.
So, I mean, you could say it's sleep paralysis, or because we clearly talked about this before, and I'll explain our also other explanation of the supernatural event. Um, but if it was sleep paralysis, then Matt wouldn't have been able to curl up into a ball and hide. He would have been numb and just having to visually and audibly deal with this terrifying existence of this dark figure of a void.
Yes.
But he was able to run and hide under the covers. Um, so, I mean, definitely something happened. I mean, it wouldn't be lucid dreaming, because lucid dreaming, you have control over his dreaming. And it usually it's not scary.
Yes.
But, so what, a basic understanding we come to is I also practice in pagan arts. I am Celtic and Norse pagan. There's many gods. The Marvel universe has really watered it down and kind of ruined them. I will say the God of War, the current God of War 2019 and the one just came out, has definitely revamped the views of like Odin, Freya, Tyr, Fjord, Thor, all that stuff. Um, and in our belief is you don't pick a patron deity; they pick you through like events or situations that just happen. You could be a devout, Celtic or Norse pagan, and not have a patron deity for years, like decades, and that's nothing. That's not your fault. That's not their fault. It's just that's how it works. Well, I back in 2017 had an experience that led me to be a Thorsman. I am a patron of Thor. I know one of the big guys, right? Bandwagoner. Anyway, so I practice. I have a shrine, a little shrine and thing, and so does Matt about Fortuna. Well, I don't think they like each other.
Yep.
And I don't think Thor enjoyed the fact that he came in
Without like,
without some sort of respect or
yeah.
offering or anything. And I think he used a bit of a scare tactic to piss off Fortuna and just to really use Matt as a scapegoat to scare someone. But with that statement, because we still don't know. This was years ago, like 2019. With that statement, it's hard to say it was supernatural because usually, especially with like the three majors, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, they don't like to say the supernatural events of their beliefs are supernatural. They usually like to tame them as miracles or acts of Allah or God. They don't like to put those together because one is proof of their belief, one is an undevout event. So because this example can both lead to our beliefs, it's kind of hard to say it's supernatural. I for one think it is a supernatural event if you take the topics and the who and what
Yes.
happened.
Yeah, so more like a supernatural religious event.
Yeah, I just don't I don't want to step on buttons and push
Yeah.
anyone's like beliefs or anything like that. But it definitely felt like a supernatural event. And like I said, we don't even know anymore at this point. We just remember the story. So it could have been supernatural. Um,
Yeah.
in a
And
new condominium.
yeah, which is why I don't tell people to come in. Well, no, how do I explain this? I'm not saying that I'm being a dick and telling people not to come into my house, but
You
I
let them come in. You don't
yeah
offer
yeah I
in
don't
person.
offer, yes, because
See,
I've had that experience where the what's it called, the ice, the kids with the ice, freaking what are they called, the black eyed
the
children.
the Black Eyed Children, the
Yes,
SCP events,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. Like you have to invite them to come in, and like I said, I do not do supernatural
What?
kids anymore.
So your team, Jacob,
Team Jacob.
because Team Edward is a vampire, and vampires to me are the only things that are supernatural that you have to invite into your home. Because by lore, they can't come into your house unless you invite them. So you're Team Jacob.
Yeah, I'm Team Jacob. Yeah, yeah. Go Wolves.
Actually, you bring up a fun SCP. I'm a huge fan of like the SCP Foundation and all that. I love that stuff. Um, I wouldn't say I say that as a whole. The Black-Eyed Children, they might not directly be actually SCP, but they definitely would fit the category as Euclid or whatever. I think
Yeah.
because they're hostile. Um, but what do they do if you invite them in? Because all the stories and like the horror recreations or animations you see on YouTube, they're just like they're outside my car door, and now they're outside my door, and I called my boyfriend, and when he got here, I'm referencing a specific one. My boyfriend got here at like 2 a.m. when I'm crying. There's nothing outside, but when I looked outside, there's a young boy and a slightly older girl below their teens with no eyes trying to get in and saying, "Help us" or something like that. Just
I think it was like
bland words.
call. Can I call someone? Just call the police or something.
Yeah. I don't know where that started. I don't know what what reference of generation or people or group of people. Like if it was Aztec or if it was European. I don't know where that started. I don't know if it's a newer,
Yeah, and
fictionary horror.
I wanna say that I haven't heard of that until I got to Texas. That's when I started hearing of
Okay.
the black eyed children.
Now, what do they do if they get in your home?
I,
Because no
I
stories.
I don't think they ever explain what happens if you do invite them to your house.
Well, I guess if they're real, there's no
Well,
victim to tell you.
yeah, there isn't. That's why you don't invite them. But yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah, and then another thing that I didn't hear until I got to Texas. Well, actually, not even Texas. It was when I don't know if you remember Key. You remember Key,
Yes.
big tall guy with what's it called? Uh, oh, I don't want to say the bad word, the wrong word, because I know every time every
I
time that
remember. I remember Key.
yeah,
You
because
can stop yourself before you lose.
yeah, because every time that I would call him by something different, because I would always what's it called? What would be the right word? Like identify him wrong. I would always get punched.
Right.
Well, I would always ask him, how do I identify you? What do you want to be called? And he's not like,
Matt, you're
don't
supposed to
fucking
be
worry about it.
open-minded. Matt, you're supposed to be open-minded. What's wrong?
But either way, I always did it just to fucking piss him off. And I knew,
I mean, that's the fun of it.
yeah, and I always knew the punch was coming.
He was quick to temper, if I remember.
Yeah, he was quick to
With
temper.
jokes, with jokes.
Yes. So yeah, what's it called? Yeah, he told me of a situation called Wendigos that he came across.
Yes,
And
those are
and
something.
and that was the first time that I ever heard of those too.
It's funny. It's really funny, and I will say this absolutely goes to natives, like the Native American. We'll take no qualm in this as colonizers. Um, myself. Uh, well, actually, no, family came from Germany. But anyway, it's funny how you look at European, like what are they called? Like the creatures of lore and like their spirits and all that stuff. You get like fairies and gnomes and cute
Oh yeah, no,
things.
yeah, they have a lot of folklore stuff over here.
Yeah, like folklore stuff. There's a word for it, and I'm really having a hard time. But then you come to the U.S., North America. You get like Wendigos and these massive creatures that look like abominations between deer and man, and they just want to kill you.
Oh
And
yes.
like Wiccan stuff, I know Wiccan wasn't started in the U.S., but a lot of it fit like a lot of the U.S. lore, especially like the mountains and the Rockies and stuff. That is pretty Wiccan, um, or at least similar in belief. I may be frustrating like 100 people. No hate to that. I love the Wicca beliefs and all that. I know it's vast, but the U.S. North American like folklore is terrifying compared to let's go meet those gnomes who live in a tree you see in commercials that are cooking you cookies and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, talking about gnomes, actually, the Mexican have a word for gnome, which is called duende, and those are little gnomes that I want to say it's from 3 to
Did you
like
call me
5 years
that?
old. No, I did not call you that.
I swear to God, you've called me that one day, like when we used to work
No.
each other. I know I'm shorter than you, but come on, dude.
No, but from like from the time that you actually could talk to like 5, 6 years old, uh, the little kids would be able to see them, and then the adults will never be able to see them. But they would always scratch or do something to the little kid if they didn't do what the little gnome wanted them to do.
Oh, it's kind of like what was an old movie where like
A
when you
leprechaun.
where you keep no, that's a funny movie though. That's a For a horror movie, it's pretty funny.
Yeah,
No, well, I can even say Codename Kids Next Door, like where you hit a certain age,
yeah,
you lost all memory, belief,
yeah.
visual. That's a pretty cool folklore.
Which talking
Were they
about
like
leprechaun, I do wanted to see freaking Chucky and leprechaun fight each other.
I'd like to see these Duende you're talking about fist fight a chupacabra. Just like the swarm of chupacabra go at it. That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, but you were
I know
saying,
that's I, I know that's racially charged because it's both Hispanic culture, but I think that'd be pretty cool. just, just like a cockfighting arena, but like with
yep.
folklore monsters.
Come on, come on.
They're not real, so
Yeah.
Or
We're
are
not
they?
we're not hurting anybody.
Yeah, please don't go into the arena. They will kill you. Please. No, yeah. I mean, I just think it's fun. Maybe it's for me, like I look at European folklore. It's like I think of the Shire. I think of the Hobbit. It's all cute.
Yeah.
And I know there's probably some bad stuff, but
I know there's
the
some stuff
majority
that
is.
we've never heard of too.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, we're like we said, we're just tip of the iceberg. We're nowhere near professionals or well versed in this. But just looking at it, like basic online posting, basic quick searches, North America, like with the Native American culture, they're very nature driven. They weren't really God driven. All of their beings were attached to nature, and that makes total sense of their lifestyle and everything. Um, that's why a lot of their stuff is horrifying
So, yeah.
because I mean, even Family Guy made that joke. Damn nature, you scary. Like, dude, like we don't really have predators anymore, but if we did, man, like imagine going to work and you're like, okay, I have to make sure the cheetah doesn't catch up to me. Like, shit, that would be terrifying. Just to go work to 9 to 5 after sprinting for your life a good mile. You know? I mean, it's weird. It's a joke, clearly, but maybe it's not.
Total.
But what was the question? I went on a fun tangent.
Yeah, I forgot. Let me. I think it was.
I think the previous question was you were talking about like places you want to go see. No, it might have been after
No,
that. It's
no,
places you want to go see, and
it was Hawaii. Oh no, we were
that's
talking.
right.
We were talking about freaking my experience with in your room.
Yeah, with for two like oh yeah, we were talking about like beliefs and then possible like the separation between church and supernatural events, like miracles and supernatural events, and
Yeah,
that's how we went on the tangent.
yeah.
What a weird tangent that became. Um, no hate, guys. No hate.
Yeah. So, all right. So, military experiences, supernatural
Well,
military
hold
experience.
on.
Wait, what?
Didn't something happen afterwards? Like it kind of hit me back.
Oh yes. What's it
Like
called? Because we thought you thought it was what's it called, Thor, and then freaking I came out with the conclusion that when he came back from his leave, He what's it called? We were going to. He was driving to what's it called to
We're
get a
actually
tattoo.
coming back from we're coming back from getting tattoos. Both
Yes.
him and I got tattoos close by to where we were staying at the time. And I had a new car. And on the side of the road there's this rusty trailer hitch that was dug into the ground. It looks like it was beaten to the ground by a hammer. Like the trailer hitch that has a ball on top for like not a kingpin but basic trailers. Um, it ripped apart my brand new tire like a week or two after owning this car.
Yes.
And you could say it was poor luck
Fortune.
or someone's patron deity's petty
Getting
shit.
well, you still get me really good, but yeah, I do want
He
to.
didn't cause financial
I
struggle.
know that's what I'm saying. It didn't cause financial struggle, and I think that's where they made up. Like, okay, I know you'll go the extra mile. We should call it truce right here.
God, if that's the truth and Thor kept going, I don't know where it'd be today.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was funny. And you said next military experience.
Yeah, military experience. Have you ever had any military supernatural experiences? I've had like 3, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you could just be bland and be like, you're on guard, you're awake for 19 to 30 something hours. You know, you're forced to look. You're looking, so then they
Yeah.
don't have to look. Who's ever on your side is behind you. They're focusing other stuff. You're looking, and you have a gun in your hand, a guard ship. So your brain wants you to find something. They want you to do what you're trying to do, but you hope you don't find anything. So that's when you see shadow people and all that stuff. But um, I don't have any specific events. Uh, I mean, there's some creepy times in Hawaii. I mean, where we were, the barracks inside, where soldiers still live, they're completely refurnished. But the outside are historic buildings. Where we were was actually the first place that was attacked by Pearl Harbor. The buildings on the outside are historic because they have bullet holes from the Japanese Zeros. Walking around that base, it's gotten a lot bigger, so you have to be in the areas of original, like the 1920s through 40s that were constructed. But walking around those areas, sometimes you'll see something in the like a little entity or wisp at the corner of your eye. You'll hear a scream. All this stuff. Because when you're in that part of the base, it's clearly old, like almost 100 years old.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I'd hear some stuff, and like at one point, Hawaii, like the island we were on, Oahu, was like a whole like a base because of fear of war. Like every major point had a battery of ammunition, a major pillbox, complex for anti-air and anti-water craft. So I mean, there's some horrible things that go on, and other bases I've been to. Linderwood is just terrifying. You're in the backwoods of Missouri. I think they even filmed some horrible movies out there, like Wrong Turn and stuff, and it fits perfectly. But I've never had actual like specific, memorable um, stuff happen to me in the military.
Yeah, so I've
You
had
said you had a
3.
few.
Yeah, I had 3. And funny that you say that freaking guard duty. All 3 of them have to do with guard duty for
Of
me.
course they do.
uh, okay, I'll try to go in order. The
Okay.
first one was in basic training. I was doing our CQ. Well, it's not called CQ in basic training. It's called Firewatch.
Fire guard.
Yeah, Fire Guard, Firewatch, which I don't
Yeah.
know why we have to do Fire Watch when there's no fires.
I guess someone in their sleep is gonna start a fire.
Yeah.
There's sleepwalking arson or something like that.
So I think it was like around 1 o'clock in the morning. They wake me up. All right, we have to switch them out. We switch them out. We wait like 10 minutes, and then we have to do our rounds, making sure everybody is asleep. So the guy that I'm doing guard watch with, he tells me to go first. So I go in, I go through the entrance on one side, and then I have to come out through the other side. I go through, and then I see all these shadows across the bay standing in the position of attention. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But I'm seeing everybody else is sleeping. So all I'm seeing is shadows on the foot of the beds in the position of attention. So I walk through. I'm like, what the fuck? I tell him, hey, could you check the the right bay because I want to see if you see anything wrong with it. I haven't told him what I saw. I just wanted to see if I was seeing things or if I was just imagining things. So he goes in through the entrance again, and I shit you not, 5 seconds after he goes in, he comes right out. He's like, I'm not going in there again. Yeah, I was talking to him. Yeah, I saw the same thing that you saw. I saw all these shadows in the position of attention. And yeah, that's my little story for basic training.
So,
Fun, yeah.
but where were you? Like what? Because I was in Jackson when I
I
went.
was in Fort
That's
Leonard. I was in Fort Leonard Wood. I was with the Chemical Brigade, Charlie 310.
gotcha. So you were in an old building. An
Yeah,
old
we
building.
were. Yeah, we were in the old buildings. And the funny thing
Okay.
is, apparently, word got around that we saw shit, and the drill sergeant, one of the drill sergeants, started teasing us that we better start sleeping at the appropriate time, or else we're gonna see ghosts and shit.
All
So
you do
yeah,
is give him ammunition to piss
yeah,
you guys off.
yeah.
That's so That's
Yeah.
so
Throughout the
funny.
whole day, during our safety briefs, that's one of the topics that he would put out.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Second event happened in the barracks, and I don't know. I'm not sure if you were still in the military when this happened, when we were doing CQ for the barracks.
No.
The police, the MPs, the fire department got called in for a disturbance in one of the rooms in like the fourth, fifth floor, and they were unable to contain the situation that they had to call the chaplain in to intervene.
What?
So yeah, they called it the
What,
chaplain.
okay,
So
what happened?
all right, so I'm not sure exactly what happened. This is all from the PNN network, but apparently there was a person that was in a demonic presence. Something supernatural was happening, and they were unable to contain the situation. That they had to call in the priest to like exorcise or something the person. And our boy Donnie, which is going to be on our second story, was supposedly involved in this, allegedly. So yeah. So I'm not sure if you were there for that, where freaking there.
No, I wasn't. Wait, so two military base emergency services walked up to a guy who could have been seizing, and just said, "Yo, wake up the chaplain."
Yep. Basically, that's what they said.
So, for those who don't know, a chaplain is a military priest, but not just they're like non-devotional nowadays. They're also usually a pretty high-ranking officer.
Yeah.
They're not like an NCO, like a sergeant. They're like usually a captain or up.
Yep.
So having to get a call like midnight to 2 a.m. like, hey sir, we actually really need you. That's silly. That's dumb, and that's terrifying. That
But yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
That was the second event. Now,
I wish I was
third,
there.
yeah. So now the third. Oh yeah, I was on the corner. I was hearing the yelling and everything that was happening. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Someone's having a party. I wasn't really thinking anything of it. Apparently, the NCO that was in charge for CQ went up, and yeah, he saw the whole thing, but he didn't want to say anything. So I got all this
Okay,
info.
maybe.
So I was still, I want to say I was a specialist at that point. And yeah, I got all this information from the PNN. So yeah.
That's
So
fantastic.
my third story is back with our boy Donnie. We were in JRTC doing a rotation in Fort Polk, Louisiana. I got
The box.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I got picked to do guard duty in a shack, and I had a report. Well, we had a report. What's it called? Vehicles coming in and out. And the first day we didn't report anything because we didn't know what guard or anything was. We were freaking brand new freaking privates. So they told us, hey, you need to report anybody coming in and out. So the second day, we're like, okay, we're going to start reporting all this shit. Second day is when we started seeing shadows on the wood line as soon as it was dark. So we would come in at 6 o'clock where it was dark and at around 1800 when it started getting dark again. And yeah, at around I want to say 1700, 1600, it would start getting dark, and we're like, oh shit, we do not want to be here when it gets dark. The third day is when the incident happens. I'm not making the shadows a big thing because the third day was the biggest part. We see, shit you not, a big ass, well, it's already big, a Humvee coming in.
Well, it's big for people that
Yes.
don't work with military equipment because
Yeah.
everything's big.
Yeah, so we hear and see a Humvee coming our direction, going out of the fob. And we're like, okay, we didn't get a report that there was a vehicle coming in, well, leaving the base. Let's go see what's coming out. We're gonna call this up. All right, we call it up. Nobody answers, so we're like, okay, whatever. Let's go outside. I go outside first. I see nothing, and my boy Donnie comes out. He looks at me, and I tell him, "You did see that, right?" And he tells me, "Yeah, I saw that." We go straight back in. I'm like, "What the fuck? We need to call these guys up that we need to get relieved a little sooner." And yeah, 17 o'clock comes out. We go outside because, again, we're going to see those shadows again. And we call it up saying, hey, we need to get switched up like a little earlier today. And yeah, good thing is the fourth day, we were able to get the new vehicles that we just got in Hawaii, the JLTVs.
No, we didn't get. We got MRAPs.
The MRAPs.
So MRAPs, JLTVs are like, if you see a Chevy Silverado but lowered to like where it's almost scraping the ground, that's an MRAP to a a JLTV.
Yeah.
So now a little informational thing for you people who haven't been or worked with military vehicles. It used to be JP8, now F24 jet fuel. It's a really like basic form of diesel that the military can use in all forms of vehicles. It's a logistical, it's logistically a good idea. Your Humvee can use it, your helicopter can use it. So you only need one source of fuel. However, everything's diesel, everything's loud. Like they heard that truck. If it's dark out and they saw a Humvee go by, they'd still be able to hear it if its lights were off. It was around a corner or like a bend of trees. They'd still be able to hear it some ways away. So they, definitely something happened. And actually, I do want to say a lot of, I hate to bring up this topic, but the highest casualty in modern day U.S. military isn't conflict; it's training. Because we train like we fight. You probably hear that all the time. Blah blah blah. But you want to be efficient. When you go to places like NTC, which is in South California, or JRTC, the box, your company is actually tested. Like a school test, where not your company, your whole unit. My apologies, like a division, to see if you're ready to deploy in theater, in combat, because they don't want to send you out there if you're not ready. That's on their end, that's dangerous. It's wasted money for travel and expenses and personnel. But accidents happen. People get run over. People, all that. It's scary to say. I hate saying this kind of stuff, but it happens. So, I mean, definitely there could have been like a ghost Humvee driving around that could have been in some sort of rollover that rolled off a hill or something. So it's definitely within the realm of possibility if you're believed or versed in the, that kind of, event, that ghostly event. Or if you're not, you can think I'm saying BS right now, which I can't judge you. You clicked on this video. This is your curiosity, and you're not getting this time back.
But yeah, that was military experience. Worst experience, yeah, that's a different thing. So,
Let's hear it.
when I was, ever since I was a kid, I would always be able to see. I would always be able to see shadows. That was a given. But I also had the ability to have like, I don't know what to call it, like a sixth sense vision, but it was through dream.
Like the kid from the movie? Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, not the kid from the movie. So it was a dream that would happen in real life. And it wasn't like, every time that I would dream, it would happen in real life. No, it was a distinct dream that I knew, okay, this is gonna happen. What's it called today? So these dreams, yeah, I'd have like a sixth sense of, oh, okay, this is gonna happen. Coming to what's it called? Before the military, I was probably around 21 years old. I was working at a warehouse. Uh, the warehouse manager was talking to me that there was a little kid, which is why I don't do little kids, uh, inside the warehouse, messing with people, throwing stuff, and just causing a ruckus. And at that time, I wasn't a believer. I'll be like, yeah, whatever, you're fucking with me. And he was serious, but at the same time, he was making a joke out of it. And I'm like, okay, whatever. He leaves. I'm alone in the warehouse in the back doing boxes. Uh, One of the pallet jacks in the front, it was an electric pallet jack, starts moving on its own. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, is it that little kid? Do it again. Do it again. Instead of him doing that thing, moving the pallet jack again, he shook the cage that was right next to me. I'm like, oh, okay, it's a little kid. I was messing around. I'm like, yeah, little kid, you just follow me around. You could follow me anywhere. I don't care. You're just a little kid. I started talking to it, supposedly talking to it. That night, I had the worst night. The second worst night I've ever had. At around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, my door slams open, and then I hear footsteps, little footsteps, walk into my room. And then my bed starts shaking. I go over my covers. I'm like, this is just a dream. This is just a dream. I don't remember, what's it called? Falling asleep. But the next day, I want to tell my mom, but she comes and confronts me first. She's like, why did you have to slam the door open at night? And I was like, Mom, that wasn't me. And my mom's Mexican. She's Catholic. So immediately she thinks, oh shit, this is demonic. This isn't good. This is something evil. So she starts blessing the house. I wanted to tell her, hey, don't bless the house, because I feel like something bad would happen to her if the whatever demon the little kid wanted to freaking go back to it. So she blesses the house. Nothing happens. Nothing happens yet until 5 years later, which is my third experience, or whatever experience. I've lost track already how many experiences I had. I've had multiple. So 5 years later, I find out that the reason we hadn't seen or heard of anything was because it was in the attic. And by that time, my brother was in one side of the house, my parents were in the other, and we decided to switch places now. So now we're on his side where there's only 2 bedrooms, and he has the 3-bedroom side of the house. And he keeps on complaining to my parents, I think there's rats in the attic. We need to check, or we need to hire an exterminator or something. And my parents are cheap, they don't want to pay that money. So they're all like, yeah, Matt, you need to go up there and check it out. So I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll go. I'm all freaking happy. I'm going up there. I see nothing. I don't see any turds, any rats, any cats, nothing. But as soon as I'm all the way in, like halfway through, I'm like, shit, I don't feel right. I need to get out of here. And I tell my brother to like get me out, because it's really cramped up in there. I tell you, hey, get me out. I don't feel good over here. I get out. I take a shower. That same night, well, it wasn't night. It was actually the next day. I woke up exactly at 7. My door opens again, like how it did 5 years ago. Violently opens, and then I hear footsteps slowly. As soon as it passed my head side, I hear running, and it's on the back of my head where the footsteps stop. And then I try to see what it was, and I'm paralyzed. And then I try to scream to my parents, and I can't. And I guess I I screamed where I didn't have any more air in my lungs or anything. That, well, nothing was coming out when I was screaming. I just let out all my air, and then I knock out. I don't remember anything, and then I wake up. I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm never doing this shit again. Little kids can go eat a, but yeah, which it brings it to full circle why I don't freaking do little kids.
Yeah, and with little kids, it's a fun discussion to really because with sleep paralysis, you always get like the black figure with the hat, whatever, being a fedora, a bowler hat, a cowboy hat, but it's always a hat, and they just stand there looking at you from the corner of your room. But the little bit more creepy ones are like with kids, the little boy that screams, the little girl with no face, that's a common one, or more common than I'd like to say. I'd really like to say, but I wonder why it's kids that are scary.
Yeah, I want to say it's more because kids are like innocent.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to grab people, like a demonic presence to grab people because, oh, it's a little kid, nothing's going to happen. I need to take care of this little kid. When in fact, it's
Yeah, okay.
it's a trap. It's it's set up as a trap.
I can see that because it's like, kind of like an anglerfish, like they lure you in like a little red bulb or
Yeah.
like a little light bulb, and in the darkness of like a trench, and they eat you or whatever they strike.
Yeah,
I
that,
could, I could see that. For me, I like to kind of like really spread it, like really. That's weird for me to say. I like to really like open like the vastness of a reason. Maybe Maybe it's because when the kids pass, they're innocent, they're unmature, and they didn't have that knowledge. They didn't know how to control their emotions, but they were extremely hyper emotional. So they're still connected to the world in their past life. I mean, in their current life, being an entity or a ghost that still walks this plane. Um, Maybe because they still have that small fragment of what they were. The innocence, the ignorance of emotions. The inability to control it, the demonic presence or whatever have you controlling it can utilize that to make it volatile, violent, unknown. Like you don't know what it's going to do next. Um, I think that's also another reason like they're dangerous. If you run into an entity of a child because they're harder to kind of really put a pin on it.
yeah,
Like like you don't know what's going to happen next is what I'm going to say. Like it's all up in the air.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
It's
Which a lot of folklore, a lot of freaking stories always deal with little kids. The, which we talked about one, the black eyed children.
That's a big one in the U.S. at least.
Yeah. Actually there is also one more that I did not mention. It was coming here to Europe. I was first day that I got into my apartment. I hear metal. What do I call them? Like galloping, a horse galloping around the house, and over here in Europe it's like they say, shorter days, longer nights. So it's very what's it called? By I want to say around 8 o'clock in the morning is when the sun comes up, and then the sun comes down like around 2, 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon. I mean, so we hardly have any what's it called? I was gonna say moonlight, sunlight. I was I wanted to know what was happening, but it's a good thing that I didn't because apparently the meaning of a horse galloping around your place in the night or any horse that you hear represents death. So if I would have looked to see where I could find that horse, I would have died.
That's actually creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's little things here and there that I also had experiences in what's it called in Europe. Actually, I was in not Estonia, Latvia. I was in Latvia eating somewhere in the basement, and I kept hearing like knocking on the wall, but these are stone walls, and I was trying to mimic that same knocking sound and I couldn't.
Weird.
Yeah, but yeah, like I
That
said,
is actually creepy.
yeah. But you know, World War One, World War Two over here in Europe. Uh, I haven't had any experiences in the base that I'm in right now, but yeah, that's
What's the difference with Europe and the U.S. is Europe has a massive history of, war, famine, genocide, riots, revolutions. I don't know, man. It's creepy. There's a lot of stuff over there that kind of just doesn't make sense.
yeah. So yeah, you have ever had any worse experiences anywhere or in general?
So for me, like I said, with my age, and I'd like to say I'm old. I'm
If you're
not.
old, I'm ancient.
Yeah, I'm not significantly, but I'm definitely younger than you. Um, it's it's not like I have any direct, like I said prior, I don't have direct like situations or anything with with this kind of stuff. It's more, how do I put it? Sleep paralysis related or based.
Yeah,
Uh, like I've had a lot of experience. Like in 2015, since I joined the service, my sleep was great because I worked my ass off, and then it just got worse and worse and worse. And as it got worse, I'd like to say it's excuses like, oh, I can't sleep because my pillow's uncomfortable or my mattress is rough. I wish it was that easy to fix, but it wasn't. Um, I think that's just what I wanted to fall back on, but I couldn't. And it soon became more like sleep paralysis problems and stuff that, of course, no one wants to deal with or bother with. But like I had ones where there's entities at the end of my bed and I can't move. There's sounds, there's events happening like stuff falling off desks, doors slamming. But there was one that really stuck with me, and it was I I had this. I didn't see anything like a figure or a void. I felt a whole bunch of stuff on my legs, and no, I didn't have a dream. Like repeat myself. I felt stuff on my legs, and it grabbed like between my calves and my ankles, and and then I blacked out. Like I said, I couldn't move, but I blacked out, and then I woke up face down the next morning on my floor in pain, and that scared me because I was 100% absolutely deal. I know I just pulled a Bert Kreischer. I was dealing with sleep paralysis. I couldn't move. I was just sitting there dealing with this terrifying experience, but I woke up on the ground. Like I was ripped
yeah,
off my bed because I didn't just flip off the side of the bed. I was pulled towards the bottom side of my bed, upside down on my face.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's definitely the scariest experience that I can remember that's happened to me. But like I said, it's all sleep paralysis
Related.
related, not really like supernatural or anything. I wish I could tell you because I know that's kind of like the theme of this thing. But you know,
Yeah,
it's what it is. Sad.
yeah,
I'm boring.
yeah. Well, do you have any rebuttals or any, what is it called? What do we call it in the military term? Alibis.
Of everything in general.
Yeah, anything in general we may have missed or anything?
So not really. I think like I said, we're far from professionals, but it's definitely an interest of ours, and it's fun to talk about it, especially on an open platform like what we're doing right now, because then other people who might be able to answer our confusion or kind of better speak about what we're talking about, it opens up the conversation for everyone. Um, and realistically, you can have people, excuse me, who are well versed in this. They have information on this stuff, but because it's still an unknown as a whole, you can't really have someone come in as a know-it-all or like have a doctorate in this kind of
Sure.
stuff. And I may be wrong, but you know it's still so unanswered. there's no right answer. So it's fun to have this kind of open style conversation because then we can all kind of talk and work together in later episodes, or like with like a future person, like you said, you're gonna have Donnie on. Donnie can come in next.
And oh, again. Let's see. Yeah, we've been having problems with this. Let me see if we could fix it right now. Yeah, this is the second time it's happened to him. First time it happened to me, you guys already saw. All right.
How far did I get in?
You just cut off where you said Donnie.
Oh well, I was gonna say like Donnie can come back and look at this episode and
Yeah.
really go a lot more in depth because clearly he was a
Yeah,
part
he
of
was,
something.
and I know he has a lot of supernatural experiences too.
He does. He looks like he's 22. He's actually like 55. Not kidding, but I love the guy. I was one of the guys that sponsored him when he came to our unit. But no, like he can look back at this video and he can use it as like kind of a base layer to talk about the experiences that you brought him up in, as well as have some ideas of when he wants to talk about because you said he's coming on next episode.
Yeah.
But I think this is I mean unless you have some regretful ideas or something that we missed or we misspoke or something, I think this is a good open for the community to kind of discuss and talk about for those who listen and want to participate.
Yeah.
Because there's really no right answer for this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I think this was good. I'll be honest. I think this was good. Other than Discord cutting in and out.
Yeah. It happened to you. It happened to me. So.
It's happened to me twice.
Yeah, I was just explaining to him. This is the second time it's happened to you. One time
Yeah,
with me.
We've already hinted at it, guys. This is not our first recording.
Yeah. You guys will not see the first recording because I am deleting that one.
No, this is the first recording edited.
Yeah. The other one was just a practice. But okay, we'll just finish it off here. Yeah. I'm Matt Styles. Thank you guys. This all for today. And what's it called? Yeah. As you guys know, just remember, seeing is believing. Bye, guys.